Good morning, everyone. Kate and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's Facebook Live, where we're closing out the conversation we've been having for the last few weeks on becoming your own best coach. Today, we really want to dig into how do you do this as a leader of others. I think when we think about why this is important, creating leaders of leaders is a really critical piece in organisations as we start to amplify skill, capability, and experience and create great leaders. Self-sufficiency, this piece around people being able to be able to navigate complex, tricky worlds, which we know organisations are, even when you're not there, so that they don't need you as a leader, is really important in terms of not only starting to build efficiency and effectiveness in organisations, but build capability.
Yeah, I think what we notice is organisations are really keen for leaders to foster more capability amongst their people. How do we extend what you know so that other people are being lifted up and they are becoming the leaders of the future and the leaders of tomorrow? And we know that when people are internally resourced, they show up differently in the workplace. They are more self-sufficient, but they're also better self-regulated. They're less reactive to situations. They've got good tools for how do I navigate through things that are potentially could be a bit challenging or difficult. And I think when we talk about how to do this well, one of the big opportunities is to role model this. And often this is potentially something that you're doing almost unconsciously as you're preparing for different stakeholder conversations, different things you've got to go into. You're probably asking yourself some great questions internally. You're thinking about, who needs to know about this initiative that's taking place. What's the core messages I want to land? What's important people walk away with? What objections might be raised? What might go on? And the more thinking you've done, the more likely it is you'll get things across the line. Now, that process might be something that you do automatically, but sharing that process, sharing your own inner thoughts, questions, ideas, actually helps them to think about, what are the questions I want to ask myself?
Yeah, I think storytelling is really powerful in leadership. And so your ability, I guess, to reveal some of the things, I used to struggle with this, or, hey, before I went into that meeting, here's some of the things that I worked through is part of my preparation phase. I thought about some of the different perspectives. I thought about who, may challenge put challenging perspectives up and what they could be. I've actually been through some of those sequencing of questions. So that ability to be consciously aware of that and to share that with your team member, really powerful. I think, we always say a great coach asks great questions. Your ability then to build and leverage that coaching skill when you are supporting your team member is really powerful. I remember, the rhythm of that with a CFO I was working for once, where even before I would go and sit down and have a meeting with him, part of my process would be sitting there thinking, okay, well, what are the questions? I got familiar with the same sort of cycle or sequence of questions that he was going to ask. And so I would go through that as part of my preparation, answer those questions, so much so that there were times that meant I actually didn't need to even go and have that conversation. So I think it's actually often the live coaching conversations that we do have to make conscious space and time for, that can actually start to really leverage this from something we're having to really consciously do as a leader with our team member to a space where they're consciously doing it individually and then circling back to us as leaders to close off anything or get some specific guidance, to ultimately maybe doing it unconsciously, which is the role modeling you talked about, Fee.
Yeah, I love this piece. We want you to be coaching them. We want you to be taking them through processes that potentially they're unaware of. They can't see this. They can't see your thinking. They can't see your process unless you make it overt, unless you share those stories, unless you take them through the scenarios and how you're addressing and coping with that. And I think then, the opportunity is to ask good questions of them, for them to start to have this conscious connection around, so what is it I'm actually trying to do here? What am I trying to achieve? And what's potentially stopping me? What's kind of coming up for me that's making this more difficult? The more we can support them to see some of the things that are currently hidden, the more likely they are to take that on and to start to develop it as a skill. And we've certainly seen really powerful examples of leaders sharing their own journey around this and how they navigate some of the complexity and the difficulty that comes up naturally in large organizations. And it's such a rewarding thing. One of the things leaders tell us often is watching the capability expand of their people as they understand this skill, as they become better at it, is incredibly gratifying and satisfying for them as well.
So lots to dig into with this one, lots of opportunity and return on investment of this one when we do start to invest in this for our people, but of course for ourselves as well. We're going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed today's confidence conversation, please share comments with us below. Share it with someone in your network. This is really a superpower when you can master it. If you would like to know more about our work, head over to our Facebook page. Lots of videos for many years now over there for you to dig into, and you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with core confidence. Visit our website, coreconfidence.com.au.